Apple Card is the credit card created by Apple. You earn 3% daily cash back up front when you use it to buy a new iPhone 15, AirPods, or any products at Apple. And you can automatically grow your daily cash at 4.15% annual percentage yield when you open a high-yield savings account. Apply for Apple Card in the Wallet app on iPhone. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings accounts by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms apply.
'Tis the season to shine with H&M. Discover the holiday collection and find fashionable pieces for your wardrobe or for under the tree. Get inspired and dazzle with this year's glam. From tuxedo styles, bow detailed pieces, impressive prints, and more. From unforgettable looks to unforgettable gifts. With fashion finds to home decor, find it all at H&M. Treat your loved ones and yourself this season. Shop in-store or at hm.com.
The holidays are a time to feel and create joy. And what could be more joyous than the look on her face as she unwraps a stunning new jewelry piece from Blue Nile? How about getting 50% off your purchase? Blue Nile offers premium quality, priced below traditional retail. Their online experts are available 24/7 to answer any questions and make sure you've picked the perfect gift. For a limited time, you can get 50% off at BlueNile.com. That's 50% off at BlueNile.com.
What a thoroughly entertaining night of Champions League football. This was the last ever, well, I suppose ever's a dangerous word in football, isn't it? But the last night for now of the classic Champions League group format, because of course next season we're going to have the one combined mega group instead of all the separate groups that we've had in this era of Champions League football. And what a sort of perfect ending they gave us in Group F with Dortmund, PSG, Milan and Newcastle showing us how great this format can be when it's at its best, when you've got the uncertainty playing out across two different football pitches in different countries and with teams who are all still playing for something on the final day. Now, let's be clear, that was not the case in most groups at all, and hopefully the new format will give us something better. But at its best, this is what these nights could be like. And this was a really back and forth, seesawing entertainment, I thought, tonight. I thought Milan were, of course, looking at this from the Milan perspective. I actually was thinking this at a certain point tonight. At half time, watching clearly the Newcastle-Milan game as my main focus, I was thinking, this is a story about Newcastle. It's not a story about Milan. And then in the second half, Milan made the story about them. It was such a cliched but true to say game of two halves at St James's Park. I thought Milan were pretty dreadful in the first half, honestly. Obviously Newcastle did a lot of things right, but I was watching the way that Newcastle kept going for that ball down the left-hand side and exploiting Rafael Leao and getting Kieran Trippier in behind them. And I thought, problem with this is it's so predictable. Rafael Leao comes back into the starting 11, and of course, even though he's been injured, you want to put him straight back into the team. But Leao's brilliance has been so intertwined with having Theo Hernandez behind him. And suddenly you don't have Theo Hernandez there. So you've got Florenzi, who's much less attack-minded in his instincts. And Eddie Howe has identified something in that and has sought to exploit it by, again, playing those angle balls over Milan's midfield for Trippier running into space down the left. And it puts Leao in this horrible position where he needs to track back or he needs to get closer to Florenzi, and Florenzi's not pushing up, so the gap between them is always there. It was a real success for Newcastle in that first half, and I didn't really feel like Milan looked like they had any answers in the first half. I was thinking back to the defeat to Atalanta, and we talked in that game about the tactical confusion. I was thinking, well, this is just different in the details, but more of the same. Stefano Pioli hasn't got his team right, and he hasn't got an answer for what Newcastle are going to do, and he didn't make any adjustments in that first half. And if not for Fikayo Tomori with an outrageous challenge on the line to deny Almiron, it could have been a much uglier first half. I thought Newcastle were just much better than Milan. And at the time, I was just so disappointed, honestly, because I thought with the way the game started, actually, it could have played right into Milan's hands. Milan do a lot of their best work and are best set up to play as, in my opinion. a counter-attacking side. They're so good on the fast breaks when Leao is there, when Theo Hernandez is there, with Pulisic in the team and Loftus-Cheek in the team. This is a team that can really break fast on you and make you pay when you overcommit. And I felt like St. James's Park was ripe for that sort of counter-punch at the start of the game, because you had such a hot atmosphere. I mean, there was that moment right at the start of the game where Anthony Gordon knocks the ball out for a throw in and he's whirling his arms and getting the crowd G'd up. And I was thinking, this is when smart teams take advantage of you. Confident teams take advantage of you, because yes, that crowd can be so powerful, can carry you to do great things, but it can also leave you open because you get too swept up in it. And confident, intelligent football teams find ways to exploit your overcommitment and over-enthusiasm. And Milan just, in my mind, weren't that at this time. And they weren't in that first half. And they were grateful to Tomori for making that incredible challenge. And then in the second half, it all changed. And there's so much mystery and momentum that goes into a game of football. On the commentary tonight, they were talking about, did those moments when words started to slip through from the other game, Dortmund were winning and St. James's Park reacted to that. And then there was another moment when PSG equalised, and did these things impact the football being played at St. James's Park? Hard to say, but certainly what made a huge impact on the course of the night was Milan finding that equaliser. And I still don't know if that equaliser in and of itself was some part of a great shift in the way the game was being played, or if it was just one of those moments where Milan managed to be ruthless. And they needed to be ruthless, because in the first half, they did still have at least one very good chance. When Rafael Leao got through on goal, it was just a classically Leao moment as he opens up his body and fires across goal. But you saw the rust on him. You saw that he couldn't put that shot on target. And you think, well, tonight's the night when you have to be ruthless. As indeed, I mean, Newcastle were, with Joe Linton taking that chance so brilliantly.
Head to SerieAchronicles.com/Patreon now and subscribe to the Chronicles Tifosi Patreon membership with a free 7-day trial. Get early access to every full-length episode and voice note before the rest of the world. Plus, all episodes are 100% ad-free. And you get bonus Patreon-only exclusive episodes, video episodes, and behind-the-scenes extras. Also, be sure to join the new chat community in the Patreon app and chat with fellow subscribers.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You might say all kinds of stuff when things go wrong, but these are the words you really need to remember. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need, have coverage options to protect the things you value most, file a claim right on the State Farm mobile app, and even reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day, and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry, with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tired of ads interrupting your favorite show? Good news. Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Download the Amazon Music app or visit amazon.com/ad-free sports. That's amazon.com/ad-free sports to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads. Enjoy thousands of Acast shows ad-free for Prime members. Some shows may have ads.
But when Pulisic scores, you think, wow, at that point, it's still a goal a bit out of nothing for Milan. At that point, they haven't really built up a head of steam. They haven't really been threatening to score that goal. And then you watch it back and you realize it's classically, for Milan, one of those moments where Olivier Giroud has once again done something just simple but intelligent, because Tomori snatches at his shot when the ball comes in and it forces Giroud, and he just doesn't panic, doesn't try to take it on himself like a lot of strikers would, sees that the ball is onto Pulisic, lays it off perfectly, and look, Pulisic is playing really well at the moment, and perhaps we haven't talked about that enough, but he takes it very well too. And then everything changes, right? Then the whole shape of the game changes after that. Not that Newcastle don't still have more chances, because they do. And I mean, I started trying to list all the moments in this game. Of course, Maignan save from Guimaraes onto the crossbar is a huge turning point. And it's an exceptional save. When you see the replay of it again, you realise how small an amount of time, smaller window he has to see that ball and react to it. Of course, there's a little bit of luck as well, because it's so close to slipping in on the underside of the crossbar anyway after he gets his hand to it. But it's an extraordinary save to go with the extraordinary tackle by Tomori. And those moments keep Milan in the game and allow them to go on and do what happens next, which is Pioli, who maybe didn't get things right at the start. I'm not certain he did. Gets things right, perhaps not by doing anything particularly mind-blowing, but by committing to trying to win the game and by sending on all of these other brilliant fast break players. Maybe I'm getting carried away by saying brilliant, but these are the fast break players that the club has brought in, bringing on Chukwueze, bringing on another forward in Luka Jovic, who's clearly found a little bit of confidence at the moment, bringing on Okafor. I'm definitely getting carried away when I said brilliant, by the way, but I'm just committing to all these signings that Milan made in the summer, players who were brought in for this reason, to make them be a team that had options going forward, that could play effectively on the counter and weren't always relying on Rafael Leao. That's exactly the moments these players were bought for. And in the end, that was what did it for Milan. A combination of Jovic and Okafor and Chukwueze. Chukwueze scoring with his first touch. And Chukwueze has been, I think we can say it, not great so far for Milan. And yet he scored against Dortmund and he scores here. It's so many things about this game that I can't give you a perfect calculated explanation for. They're just things that happened and that fit within the momentum of this game. But I love that Milan threw everything into it. I love that they committed to trying to win the game. I love that they haven't treated this opportunity to play in the Europa League as nothing, because they knew, even going through this, that it was a real outside chance that winning the game would get them to keep on in the Champions League. They needed, unlike Newcastle, they needed Paris Saint-Germain to lose, not just draw in Dortmund. And as it happens, PSG, from what I saw of that game, had heaps of chances, were quite unlucky to draw despite falling behind. But then you see at full time the celebrations that Milan have are sincere, and that they're pleased to have rescued that moment of playing in Europe. And I think when you see the fans up in the stands at St. James's Park and the celebrations that were going on, the way they were chanting at the end of the game, I always say this to people, I always try and explain this to people. Clubs everywhere have different identities, and Milan's identity is so firmly tied to Europe. Milan have, I was going to say always, and that's wrong as well, but certainly since Silvio Berlusconi, they have drawn so much of their sense of self from being the most European, the most international of Italy's teams. That's how they perceive themselves, and their Champions League record speaks for itself.
Become a member at patreon.com/Serie A Chronicles for regular bonus episodes and content.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.